Hey friend, it's me Vasco with a quick announcement. We at the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast are organizing this year's Scrum Master Summit. For tickets and details on the summit, check out the URL bit.ly/SM Summit 22. All one word, SMSUMMIT 22. And now, on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Luís Silva. Hey, Luís, welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me 2 days in a row.
Absolutely. It will be 5 days in a row, just in case some people might be surprised. And of course, Tuesdays we talk about teams, but we always start with the book because, of course, we're always looking for inspiration and information as Scrum Master. So share with us, Luís, what might have been the book that most inspired you in your career as a Scrum Master?
The answer is in the question. It's Inspired by Marty Cagan. It's kind of a cliche, but this book is what made me understand that I would need to get out of the typical Scrum Master comfort zone and take upstream and own upstream as part of the knowledge I should have, how it works, what are the techniques involved, how it's organized, why it's done that way. And this book is actually what broadened my vision of what product development is.
And when you say upstream, what exactly do you mean?
I mean about all the discovery work, all the product management work, all how the organization does the strategy decisions and how they need to understand the customers deeply. So one thing I always find with a lot of Scrum Masters is that they are big experts in downstream, in delivery, and they completely own this, but they forget everything that comes before the intake of the team. And a good upstream probably makes or breaks the downstream. It's not just about doing it right, it's doing the right thing. And this is what agility is all about. We don't do agile because we want to be more agile. It's because we want to deliver more value to the customer. If you're not understanding how those decisions are made, you're not truly making the most of your knowledge or being as influential as you can be. And this is what Inspired taught me, is everything is linked together. And just because what we own most of the times is delivery, that we cannot look at the discovery part of the work and why the teams actually, or why we should be always fostering for the teams to actually be doing that discovery work.
Absolutely. A great message. And of course, I'll put the link on the show notes to the book. Something that we very often insist here on the podcast, and we'll talk about it on Friday, which is that partnership with the product owner, since the product owner is obviously focusing on that upstream, as you called it, and Marty Cagan calls it, part of the work before it gets to the team. So definitely great recommendation. So Luís, now we turn our attention to the teams. At the end, they are the core of our focus as Scrum Masters. And we want them to succeed, but sometimes the teams themselves are not sure whether they want to succeed and take on patterns of behaviors that may lead to problems. We talk about the teams that self-destruct. So tell us that story, Luís.
Okay, there are two things that I see happening a lot of times in teams. One of them is the illusion of control that is built. So teams want to have everything in small buckets, and the smallest, the better, in order to have this illusion that they are in control of everything. The second thing, and maybe the biggest mistake I see teams doing a lot that makes them, I wouldn't say self-destruct, but puts them in a downward spiral, is work in progress. Too much work in progress is probably the biggest mistake I see a lot of teams making. Sometimes it's about having the superhero complex. Sometimes it's about the inability to say no. Sometimes it's because they get overwhelmed and then don't know where to turn. Sometimes it's because the ecosystem doesn't foster them to actually be able to own truly the work that they're doing. But the fact is, that this is the single thing that can make or break your flow, your stream. So from the moment you take on too much whip, you'll be increasing your cognitive load. You'll be having a lot more management time to deal with open topics. And this is what teams don't realize is that one finished thing is a lot better than two unfinished ones. Uh,
Of course, the illusion of control even plays more to that, right? Because the one of the aspects of work in progress is I know what I'm working on, right? So I'm in control, but of course, it's never what one person is working on. It's what the whole team is working on. And sometimes when one person takes one more item, the whole team stops because they are now blocked by that person taking one more item. And this happens quite a lot. What I'm interested, though, is to explore a little bit what might be the reasons. And you said that there might be many reasons. Maybe you have a story in mind. What are the concrete, practical reasons, the dynamics that lead to teams wanting to control everything and ultimately having too much work in progress?
yes. So one of the things that can lead to this is lack of clear goals, because one of the most important things that, for example, Scrum gives that other practices some oftentimes forget is goals. And I think they're very important in order to help prioritize the work that we're doing. And if we're working towards goals, we're probably going in a good direction, no matter what. Change the scope. I don't know, miss the estimates. I don't care. The thing is, if we're moving towards the goals, we're going in the right direction. And teams need a lot of people need to feel like they're delivering value. Doesn't matter if they are or not. So one thing that happens that actually enables this is, for example, you just formed the team and you forgot about giving them a mission. You forgot about giving them goals. They start coding, right? It's like telling them that they need to go north and they start running. They don't care if they should have been going by train or by car or by plane. If they want to go to, well, I mean, Lisbon, right? So if they want to go to Porto or if they actually want to go to London, but they're coding, so they're running. They feel like they're doing something. So
There exactly, and it also plays to that, right? Like because when we're doing something, and especially if we feel we're doing the right things, we feel in control, right? And we one of the things that I don't know if that's what you meant, but one of the things that comes to my mind is the pattern of once I know I'm working on something, I don't even need to know why I'm working on it, right? I just do it.
that's the thing. And from then on, you actually are owning and you are emotionally attached to that piece of work. No matter what, your effort, your blood, sweat, and tears are there already. So from that moment on, you have problems in dropping that work, in admitting to yourself that work is not priority anymore. And that's because you had a bad start, but you're already running. And that's what matters. So that's why goals are very important. Sometimes lack of goals can in the long run lead to too much whip. One other thing is very common, and everybody had to deal with it probably at some point in their life, which is conflicting priorities or management requests. They're very hard to deal with. Let's not be naive anymore, right? So what's happening is that management sometimes needs to change scope or to change priorities, and we need to know how to deal with that in a healthy way. And this is how an operating model or a process of any kind can help us do it. It can be through prioritization, it can be through shielding the team, it can be through goals too. But those spasms that sometimes come from the team ecosystem, management, leadership, sometimes from the team itself, needs to be taken care of with a process that enables healthy behaviors.
Yeah, and it when you discuss that, like the interruptions even that management brings in, I'm reminded that one of the core values of Agile is welcoming change, right? Instead of being stuck into the plan. Sometimes I get the impression that teams understand the process as a way to not have to think about change. And what you're saying, if I understand you correct, is that the process is there to support us being adaptive to change and not to be stuck on what was in the backlog like 3 months ago.
Yes, because you do welcome change, but you don't do change for change. There's way, and we go back to lean like we did yesterday, right? So that's one of the wastes in lean. You can change for change. You need to change for the right reasons, and sometimes they are there. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes it's all about asking the right questions. When does this need to happen? And maybe the change is not necessary. It can be included into the process if you analyze the cost of delay, for example, of this request. And you can understand that maybe you don't need to start it today. You can start it at the end of the week. And then you finish your sprint. And what you are reassessing is your backlog. You're not reassessing your goals.
Absolutely. Reassess the backlog, but stick to the goals. That's a great way to finish this episode. Thank you, Luís Silva.
Thank you for having me.
Hey friends, it's Vasco again, now with a bit longer announcement. I'm part of the team that is behind the Global Scrum Master Summit, the conference dedicated to the Scrum Master role. If you're a Scrum Master, the Scrum Master Summit is a place to learn, to share, and of course to meet new friends. We will have lots of live sessions where you can meet and network with other Scrum Masters from the whole globe. So make sure you check it at bit.ly/SM Summit 22. We have several amazing keynotes and 7 tracks that feature people like you and of course thought leaders sharing their insights, their knowledge, and helping you become an awesome Scrum Master. You can check out all of the details of the summit, including the keynotes announced, the track chairs, and much more at bit.ly/SM Summit 22. That's all one word. That's bit.ly/SM SUMMIT and the numeral 22. I'll see you on the conference floor.